Hey, hi guys. So we are good to start. Let's get started for today. So we are meeting after a certain gap. So let's revisit whatever we have done and then we quickly move ahead. So we were talking about IAM, where we were talking about identity and access management. Here we said that there are two things which are important for us. One second. One is authentication. The other one is authorization. One second. Guys, if you're not speaking, can you go on mute? Okay. So we are talking about two components here, which is, one second. Can you go on mute if you're not speaking? There is a disturbance around. Fine, let's get started. So we were talking about two components, which is authentication and authorization. When I say authorization, I basically want to say what is he able to access. When I say authentication, I say whether his username and password is correct or not. Now, keeping these two things in mind, I can give unlimited access to my root user and give restricted access to my other users. Then moving ahead, I saw that IAM can give me a secure access. Now, if there is someone who wants access to my account, I need not go ahead and give him my username and password. Rather, I will give him my IAM user credentials, where if I want to give a programmatic access, I will give him access key and secret access key. And if I want to give him CLI access, I will give him, if I want to give him console access, I will give him username and password. Then when we moved ahead, we talked about four major components: user, group, policy, and role. I said user can be anyone who is using an AWS account. He's a user. When it comes to policy, policy is the documentation, the JSON documentation, which says who is having what kind of access. Then managing individual user will be difficult for me. So I went ahead and I told that I will create groups and I will assign policies to this group so that they get proper access. And at the last, I told I will be using roles because there are many components which will need these roles. Like one AWS EC2 instance wants to talk to another S3. So I need these components to manage them. So this is overall what I am looking at. When we move ahead, this is somehow what we did at the account level. I created number of groups, like a group of admin, group of developers, group of testers, and then I started adding those people to these groups. Once these members are added, they get their respective access. But in case there is a group, let me say a group of developers where Alice, Bob, and Charles are member, the same member Charles can be part of different group also. So if you see my diagram here, Charles is the member of developer group and he's also member of audit group. So that is possible. If you don't want to give a user or don't want to add him to a group, then you will see that he is all alone. He doesn't have any group access. So you can do like that also. When you say that I have to access my account, the account can be accessed in majorly three different ways. So the first is that you access via CLI, where you get access key and secret access key. Then one second. Caller 01, can you go on mute? Caller 01, can you go on mute? One second. So what we see here is that if I have to access my AWS account, the account can be accessed in 3 different ways. Okay, there are other ways also, but majorly we see that there are 3 different ways. The first one is your IAM user. I give you a username and password. You go to your management console, apply that username and password and log in, which is the most easiest and the simplest way. Here, you can double secure your account by enabling MFA. Apart from that, you see that we have something called CLI access or CLI API access. Here we provide you access key and secret access key. Based on that, you can go ahead and log into CLI. And the third one is the federated users, where I am not directly using the username and password on AWS, but I'm using a third party to authenticate my request, and the third party will validate. And then based on that, I will go ahead and log in. Now, using 3 ways, at the end of the day, you will reach at the same point. So IAM policy is a set of permission, which is in JSON documentation format, and it tells you which user has what kind of access. Okay. Then the same thing here, as a developer, I have 3 developers, Alice, Bob, Charles. As an audit team, I have kept Charles also here, and Charles is also a member of developers team. Like that, you can go ahead and segregate your team members, and you can say, okay, these people will get these kind of access. Then when I have to write a policy will look something like this, where you will have version. I told you that Amazon wrote a policy somewhere around 2012, 2017, and then they did not change after that. So it is like this only. Then you give ID. ID can be any description, whatever you want. Then the main thing is the statement. Okay. Effect, action, resources. So these are the main things. Effect is allow, means how do I read resource? So in the resource, see what is the resource. So resource is a bucket. So it says this S3 bucket, I will tell you what is bucket, but if you want to read this S3 bucket is allowed. So action is S3 star. So S3 related access or S3 related any item can be done using this particular policy. Okay, S3 star means anybody can do S3 related anything on this particular item if they have this policy. So we write the policy in JSON format. That's the only format. We don't have any other format apart from that. So IAM role is a set of permissions, and now this permission will allow one AWS service to talk to another service of AWS. As and when this will come, then we will go ahead and see more and more such type of tokens, such type of access. Now, one more important thing which we should know is STS token. Now, STS token is something which is used for temporary security credentials. So let me say there is a member from audit team. Okay, he wants access for my account on a temporary basis. Let me say he wants it for, let me say, half an hour, or he wants for 1 day. So in that case, it is not a good idea for me to go ahead and create a username and password for him. So I give him STS account, which is STS token, or we also know it as a temporary credential. Okay. So here, if you see Andrea, who is a user in account A, wants access to account B. Okay. So in account B, I create a STS token for her, means a temporary credential for her. And then I share it with her, and then she is able to access my component, which is in account B. So this is a very simple example of a STS token. So just remember one thing, STS token is used for temporary access. Maybe some audit member wants to come into your project and he wants to do some auditing, or there is someone who wants temporary access to your account. So how to do that? So to manage that, you will need the STS token. So here, the region in which the credentials are requested must be enabled. So it is a temporary credential, and the full form is STS token. You can read through. It is very simple, straightforward. But the most important thing is that here we will be giving them temporary credential. Okay. Then what next? Okay. Now, few things which in an interview you may be asked. So you keep these things in your mind. Okay. First thing, what does AWS IAM offer to you? First thing, it gives you a full control or a centralized control on your AWS account. So when you create a AWS IAM credential, you give him access to a certain component. And based on that, they will be able to access the account. Shared access to your AWS resources. So you say which person will get what kind of access. Granular permission. So you can say what all elements would you like to say. So in conditions, you can say, okay, if the request is coming from this IP, then only I'll allow the user to come. So you are giving granular or very fine-grained permission. Then you have identity federation. So I told you that using third-party tools like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, Twitter, you can allow them to log into your AWS account. Multi-factor authentication. So I told you that you can make your account double secure using multi-factor authentication. Then you can provide temporary access to your users using STS token. So you can generate STS token and you can provide temporary access to people. Allow you to set up your own password rotation policy. So you define after what duration your password will automatically expire. Then you go ahead and recreate your password and then you start working again. You can integrate with almost all the services of AWS. So individually, IAM is not very important, okay? But when you integrate it with other components, you will see it becomes very important. Then last point is it supports PCI DSS compliance. What do you mean by that? Now, when you go to shop or you do some online shopping, let me say you're doing some online shopping on Amazon.com, okay? So you will see that they will store your credit card details, validity, name and all, but they will not store your CVV, okay? So that is known as PCI DSS compliance. So the credit card details or debit card details will be stored, but the CVV is not stored. So every time they will ask you those details in case they have to deduct some money or anything like that. Now, as a user, what should you do? I told you that there are some best practices, like you must enable your multi-factor authentication. Why? Because in case you miss your username and password, there is a very high chance that your credentials may be used for any malpractice. So to safeguard yourself, you should be not exposing your username and password, and double protection should be provided using a MFA device. This MFA device can be a virtual one or it can be an actual one like a RSA token. Then you can create your own password where you can provide a strong password and you can make sure that the password keeps rotating, means after 30 days, 70 days, 90 days, automatically it will expire and then you recreate it. One very important thing is IAM is universal in nature. What do you mean by that? So let me log into my account. Let me come here. Let me log into my account. Control A. Okay, just logged it. So if I come to IAM, I can see here IAM is global service. So it is not regional service, it is a global service. What do you mean by that? That you cannot say, okay, this user is created in North California or this user is created in North Virginia. Whatever you create is applicable to all the regions. So one very important thing is that IAM is global in nature. As a root account, you have full permission, but make sure that you use this very wisely, because if your root credentials are misplaced, then you are in trouble. Then when you create a new user, the user does not have any permission by default. Here comes an interview question, which you can see in your certification also. I created a user and I'm trying to access S3 or any service of AWS, but I am not able to. Can you tell me why? Because when you create a new user, by default, the user has no access, zero access. So even if you try to do something, it will not be working. So first give them the access and then only it will work. Then I know that there is something called access key and secret access key, which is different from my username and password. And they are also equally important in the sense you should make sure that your access key and secret access key is kept secure. then while creating your username and access, you get to create it only once. So either you download and keep it, or you keep it somewhere safe, because you will not be able to see it again. STS token I just now talked about. Now, one very important interview questions which you will see, because recently this service has been introduced by Amazon. So there is something called AWS organization. Okay, so to understand AWS organization, let me go to the console and see what is AWS organization. So it says central governance and management across AWS accounts. Now think of a scenario where there is a company X. Now it has 3 AWS accounts. One, it is running in prod region. Other one, it is running in dev region. And the third one, it is running in UAT region. So there are 3 regions. So there will be 3 set of users, 3 set of groups, 3 set of policies, and 3 set of admin to manage them. More importantly, there will be 3 different bill generated. Now this is not acceptable, because the same company is using 3 different accounts. So there should be a provision that they can manage them as one account. Moreover, another scenario. Let me say there is a company X and company Y. Both company X and Y are using AWS account. Now there is a merger which is happening. Company X and company Y are getting merged. Now because they are getting merged, now what will happen? That the same account can be accessed at both the places. Means an employee of company X will want to access Y account, and employee in company Y will want to access X account, right? So in that case, management will become very difficult. So AWS gives you with a smart feature which says you can put all these accounts in one single root account. So basically it is known as organizational unit. So you create one organization, and inside that organization, you put all the accounts what you have. So here, if you see, there are 4 accounts, one organizational unit, another organizational unit, third one, fourth one. So now what is happening, all the 4 accounts or the 4 organizational units, I am putting inside one single root account. I have one single policy, which is managing everything, and one single admin is managing all the thing. What is the benefit you get? There are 2 benefits. The first benefit is that the management becomes easy. And the second is now you are using in a bulk. So let me say that you go to a place and you want to buy one laptop. Now you have 3-4 friends. All of you go and say, okay, fine, we will buy 4 laptops. So the shopkeeper will be more interested. Oh, I'm going to sell 4 laptops. Now, same thing what I'm doing here, rather than paying single account, I'm putting all of them at one place, and I'm saying I will have one paying account. So when there is one paying account and inside multiple sub accounts are there, you end up saving a good amount of money in your monthly bill. So you get bulk discount. So what is the benefit of AWS organization? AWS organization helps you to do 2 things. One, management, and the second is cost saving. So these things are important. Okay, this is this thing. Okay, fine. Now there are 2 more components, shield and not this WAF. Okay, so let me just show you this shield and WAF. Consolidated billing. Yes, consolidated billing. Consolidated billing means there are 3 accounts. So let me say account 1 was generating $10, account 2 was generating $20, and account, so let me just diagrammatically show you. So let me say I have 3 accounts, okay? Account 1, 2, 3. So this was generating $10, this was generating $15, and this was generating $30. Okay. So if you pay individually or you have to manage individually, then probably you will need more people to manage it. All these are admin. This admin is here, this admin is here, this admin is here. Now what I'm saying that, hold on, bring everything together. One account, and I will say this is my organization. And I'm saying under one organization, I will manage everything. So I don't need 3 people to manage this. I can manage it by 1 person alone. So I save in terms of cost. Now, this was generating $10, $15, $35. So if individually I was paying somewhere around $40 and $55. Now I can say, Amazon, give me discount. I will pay you $50 or I'll only pay you $40. So cost wise also, it can be good for you. So there are 2 benefits: consolidated billing, okay, means one bill for so many accounts. And second is you get a better management when it starts with this. So 2 benefits with this. Now, what that mechanism of generating single BIM from multiple consoles via route is that referred to? Was that mechanism of generating single bill from multiple AWS management consoles via root user that is referred to as consolidated billing? Yes, your assumption is very right. So when you have multiple accounts together, you don't want to deal with them separately. You don't want to pay the bills separately. You allow one single account, and under that account, these become sub account. Then this is known as consolidated billing. And this comes under AWS organization. Okay. Now, 2 things which we will learn here is, one is AWS WAF. Okay, wait a second. So we will learn about WAF. So WAF is your web access or web application firewall. So if you see carefully, I'm trying to make my authentication and authorization secure. Means I am allowing only those people to log in who are the authentic users. But if my application is running on internet, how will I make it secure? So one such way to make it secure is to run a WAF or a web application firewall. Like in your Windows machine or like in your any machine, you will have a firewall, you will have an antivirus. What is the difference between IAM role and policy? Okay, Kanika, I'll take that. Give me some time. Let me finish this and I'll take that again. So when I say WAF, okay, I'm talking about web application firewall, or you can think of an antivirus which is running at account level. So think like this. Suppose this is my AWS account. Inside my AWS account, I'm running in US East 1 or North Virginia. Here I have one EC2 instance. And inside this EC2 instance, I have installed my website. Now, in this website, there will be many users who will be coming in from outside. Okay. How to make sure that these users are not hampering my website? So I will put a layer of WAF here. WAF is web access or web application firewall. So it is an antivirus which will make sure that only filtered traffic or only good traffic is coming inside your application. Okay. So in very simple terms, you can think like you have bought a new laptop and you have installed an antivirus so that whenever something is coming from outside, it is getting filtered via your antivirus, and then only it is allowed to come inside. So this is WAF. Okay. Just remember it theoretically. That is all what you require. One more component which you will find here is shield. S-H-E-I-L-D, shield. Now, what is this shield? Okay. Now, shield is basically helping you to avoid DDoS attack. DDoS attack, also known as brute force attack. Brute force attack. Now, if you're new to these terminologies, don't worry, I will explain. Now, first thing which I understand from here is that it is an attack. It is kind of a virus attack, and I have to save my application from that. Okay. Now, think of a scenario. Now, suppose this is my website. So your website will have a capacity. Now, let me say from internet, at any given point of time, 10 users can log in per minute. Per minute, 10 users can log in. Okay. But I'm your competitor. Okay. I will send a lot of fake traffic to your website. Now this fake traffic, what it will do, it will keep your servers busy. So whenever a genuine user is there, he wants to come to your website, he will not be able to reach the website. Okay. For example, in India, we have Zomato and Swiggy. Now Zomato is seeing that Swiggy is doing very good business. So what it will do a brute force attack. Means it will send a lot of false traffic to your website. The moment you get false traffic, you are not aware whether it's a false traffic or it is an actual traffic. So you will treat that as an actual traffic and you will allow your users to come in. But they are not actual users. They are simply fake traffic. Now what will happen? A genuine user who wants to come in, he will not be able to come. And this type of attack is known as DDoS, denial of service. So even if you are a genuine user, you're not allowed to come inside and take the content from the website. So DDoS attack is a very common attack. So AWS Shield is something which will protect you from that kind of a attack. Okay. So I talked about brute force attack, DDoS attack, both are same. In brute force attack or DDoS attack, your website will be flooded with fake traffic. Now, because your website is flooded with fake traffic, the actual person who wants to come in will not be able to come in and browse the content. And this is something bad for your business, bad for your website. And that's the reason we say this is denial of service. When it comes to denial of service, you should use Shield. So Shield is nothing but you enable Shield on your application. And that's all you have to do. And then Shield will take care that anytime such kind of attack happens, it will mitigate that traffic or it will throw that traffic back. Okay. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so let me come here again. There are two questions which I need to take. Your voice is not clear, getting a lot of disturbance. Shivani, I don't think there is a disturbance from my side. I will request you to rejoin once. Okay. And if the disturbance continue, let me know. I will see what can be done. Okay. One more question which there is what is the difference between no, voice is quite clear. Okay. So what is the difference between policy and role? Policy and this guy is role. Okay. So when I say policy, it is a JSON documentation. JSON documentation. Now, what will this JSON documentation contain? So JSON documentation will contain who can access what. So when you say that I am giving you admin access, so in admin access, what kind of access you're going to give? You will be telling it here. So it is the details. Details. So admin access means what? S3 full access means what? So those kind of details will be put here in my policy. Policy can be attached to a user, to a group, or to a role. Okay. But then what is role? So when you talk about a role, how Shield identifies that the traffic is a genuine or a fake one? Okay, I'll come to that. So role, what does role say? Now let me say there is an EC2 instance here. And it wants to talk with my S3. So EC2 is compute component and S3 is storage component. Okay. Now, if EC2 and S3 wants to talk to each other, they will bring this concept of role in between. So role is something which will facilitate the communication between two components of AWS. Okay. So that is role for you. So role in simple terms will allow two components of AWS to talk with each other. Policy, whereas, is a JSON documentation. Okay. Any follow-up questions to this? You can ask again, else we'll move ahead. Now, There is one more question which talks about what is this brute force attack and how will my system know what is brute force attack and how to handle that. Now, first thing, what happens is that Amazon is running on machine learning algorithms. Okay. So when you say machine learning algorithms, they learn by what they see. Now, fake traffic. Okay. What do you mean by fake traffic? So let me say this is a web server. Okay. At any given point of time, there is 10 people coming inside your server. There is a high chance that all the 10 will come from different locations. But if all the traffic is coming from one location only, it means it's a fake traffic. This guy or this IP address came 5 seconds back, did not buy anything and went back. Then another 10 seconds back, the same IP is coming again and blocking the channel. So these kind of anomalies will say that it's a fake traffic. So any anomaly or unusual behavior is detected as a fake traffic. Okay. The same IP being used again and again, the IP being randomly pushed. So let me say I am a company which is originating in India or it is working from India. Now, all of a sudden, there is a huge amount of traffic coming from Africa. 99.9% that traffic is a fake one. Okay. Or it is kind of a malware. It is kind of an attack. So these are some parameters based on which they will decide whether it is a malware or it's a genuine traffic. Okay. So genuine is some traffic which is always repeating itself. Fake traffic is in bulk and spontaneous, anonymous traffic, and it is spontaneous. Okay, let's see how it will be taken care. AWS Shield is different from advanced and there are nothing like latter services. Okay, when you talk about Shield, okay, and you go back here, Shield is of two types. Let me come here. Wait a second. Come here. The Shield is coming up. Shield is here actually. Okay, see here. AWS Shield will protect you from DDoS attacks. Okay, now if you go with Shield Advance, okay, so Shield Advance is something which comes with a higher cost. Obviously, it will give you a higher protection, additional data transfer rates and all. So $3,000 per month is the cost. But yes, it will protect your stuffs like, see here, global activity detection by Shield. So let me say my application is running somewhere here. So most of the traffic will come from here only, but all of a sudden some traffic is coming from here. Then it is kind of a alarm for me. It is kind of a fake traffic for me. So the machine learning algorithms will see what all it is. So if you go with standard, so AWS standard is free and enabled by default. And then you have Shield, which gives you 3,000 per month. So obviously if you're paying more, so it gives you more protection. Application 7 traffic monitoring. So I'll talk about this. Network layers when I'm talking about application load balancer. Okay, see here. So it is giving you limited features basically. And here when you go with Shield, you get more protection. AWS firewall manager, number of additional costs. So there are more protections. So you can read through this. Okay. But on a very high scale, I will tell you only one thing, that it will protect you from a DDoS attack, and that DDoS attack can deny the actual user service, which is not good for your business. And hence you would always want that such fake traffic should be filtered out before it reach to your server. 1 second. How to resolve this kind of attack? So these kind of attacks cannot be manually resolved, because nobody will come to you and say that I'm a genuine traffic or I'm a fake traffic. So you enable these services, and then inside these services, machine learning algorithms are running, which will constantly monitor what is going on. Okay. So that's what I told, right? So all these days, let me say I'm using Hotstar, which is a very much India specific website. So all of a sudden you see that there are lots and lots of traffic coming from Australia. So probably it's a good thing. If it is actually genuinely happening, it's a good thing that there are many people in Australia who is looking forward to see my website, which is actually more of an Indian website. But there are high chances that these are more than what you say, a genuine one. Okay, so that's how they detect this. So let me give me 1 second. Usha, I'll unmute you. Give me 1 second. You can go ahead. 1 second. Yeah, Usha, go ahead, please.
Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes. So how to detect that? After detecting, is it automatic to get detected that certain like fake traffic? And second is like after detecting, then only will apply for the services. So how is this process follow later on? Yeah.
Okay. See, so it is not like the event will happen and then you will start the services. It is not like that. See here. So if you see this AWS Shield Advance, so this Shield Advance, it is running 24/7. Okay. And whenever such kind of attack will happen, okay, it will send a notification to the particular admin. So you configure your, see, protected resources. So actually I don't have this thing because I'll not be spending $3,000 to enable this. Okay. So that's the reason I can't show you everything here. But one thing which I would show you here is that when you enable this shield thing, right? So when you go with classic, okay, it will not give you more features, but when you enable this, sorry, shield, give me 1 second. So there are two things. Whenever this, see, whenever you subscribe for this, okay, it will ask you for the price and all, and see here, auto renewal and all these things. When you subscribe for this, it will ask you for your a set of usernames and password. Okay. Add resources to protect. So what all resources would you like to protect? And then in the here, load resources. Give me 1 second. So it will basically ask you the username and password, basically the email ID where it should send those notifications. So once this is done, right? You can go ahead. I don't have any resources at this point of time. So you can go ahead and send notifications to those guys. So whenever there will be a DDoS attack or there is a threat, then automatically an email will be sent to that particular admin. The admin has to come back and he has to go ahead and take necessary action. So that thing the admin has to do. Okay.
So in real time, by default, this service has been taken by big giant like any commerce websites.
Big,
yeah, by default.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big e-commerce companies, they will take this particular service because it is a standard practice to take the service. Because if they don't take, you never know when you will be attacked by a cyber crime. So you can't wait for the cyber crime to happen and then go and enroll for all these things. So the companies, they do enroll for these services well in advance. And whenever there is such a situation going to happen, you get a notification well in advance. Okay.
Yeah, it's got clear my doubt. Thank you.
Okay. So now this is all about your security. Now, one very important thing, which I'm repeatedly saying, security is a joint effort. You cannot say that because I have created an account on AWS, my account is secure. No, it will only be secure if we both go ahead and take care of this. If this is the stuff that we have covered before, then I guess today no studies, only revision. No, we will go ahead, man. Hold on. Now, the thing which we will be covering today is we will be going ahead with S3. So we now know that there is something called IAM, which will take care of the security, authentication, and authorization aspect. Now I will go ahead and talk about the storage component. Now, whenever you talk about storage, okay, the major problem which you have with almost all the on-premises systems is that there is limited memory. Limited memory in the sense, they start with, let me say, 5 TB of data, but then gradually this 5 TB of data is exhausted, and then you end up buying more storage, and then more and more and more. But then the data is never enough. So what Amazon does is, Amazon says, hold on, I will give you unlimited storage. So Amazon give you something called S3, which is simple secure storage. Here you can store and retrieve any amount of data and anywhere. You can think this as your Google Drive, where you can put, I have doubt integration, wait a second, integration with, can you ping me separately, Satish? I will help you with that. Okay, so whenever it comes to storage, the memory limit is a constraint. So cloud gives you unlimited storage. So how can cloud give me unlimited storage? Because at the end of the day, you are paying for it. So let me say you go to a restaurant and you order 5 pizza, 5 burger, and 5, let me say, patties, or 5 bottle of cold drink. Will he ask, sir, are you going to eat all alone? No, he will not ask you. Why? Because he knows that at the end of the day, he will be getting paid. But if the same thing you do in your home, they will ask, hey, are you going to eat everything? Because they know that you will not be eating all those things and you are going to waste it. But when you go on cloud, it is not cloud's problem. Even if you waste it, it is not cloud's problem. At the end of the day, if you ask for 20 GB, it will provide you 20 GB. If you ask for 200 GB, they will provide you 200 GB. And if you ask for 200 terabytes, petabytes of data storage, they will give you that amount of storage, because at the end of the day, you are going to pay for it. So S3 is a object storage service. Now, what do you mean by object storage? I will come to that, but here it gives you high scalability. Scalability means it can scale as per your demand. Today you need 2 GB, take it. Tomorrow you need 20 GB, take it. Day after tomorrow you need 200 TB, take it. 1 year from now you need 5 petabyte of data of storage. Go ahead and take it. So whatever you want, you will get it without any issue. And that will happen because cloud is giving you unlimited storage. Second is data availability. So data you can access at any point of time. Like if you upload something on Google Drive will not say it is night 3 or morning 3 a.m. I will not give you the data. Or it is afternoon 12, I will not give you the data. The data can be retrieved at any point of time, and that's called high availability. It is secure unless and until you want, the data cannot be retrieved. And the third is performance. The data can be uploaded fast and retrieved fast. So I will start with S3. Now, when you start with S3, okay, before going there, let's talk about storage. So when we talk about storage, cloud generally, then you have file and you have block. Give me 1 minute. So generally on cloud, we classify the storage into three varieties. Okay. The first variety is object, which is S3, which we are talking right now. So let me say S3. So it is cheap, highly available, and it is unlimited. Wait a second. It is unlimited. Why do we use it? Mainly used for archival, log, clickstream, and bulk storage. Bulk. Okay. So this is what we will be discussing today. Object oriented or object storage. Now, why it is called object storage? Now here you can store anything in the sense you can store a text file. So .txt, you can store an Excel file, you can store a PDF file, you can store a image, JPEG. Suppose you have written a Java program, so you can store a WAR file. So basically it gives you place to store any kind of data. Whatever data you have, you can store here. So that is the benefit. Okay. Only one drawback is sometimes it may be slow. This is the only drawback what it has. But the good thing is cheap, highly available, unlimited storage. Good for archival, log, clickstream data, and bulk storage of any kind. Any type of file can be stored here. Sometimes it may be slow, not always, sometimes. Then let's talk about file. You need a shared access, or there are 5 developers working. All of them need to store something on a shared basis. So you will use file. On Amazon, it is known as EFS or Elastic File System. The only problem with this is it is a bit costly. So if it is a bit costly, you cannot go for unlimited storage. If you go, really, you have to pay a lot. After the class, yes, I will share the notes with your coordinator, and your coordinator will share the notes with you. So all the notes, what we are showing here, the slides, the PPTs, the notes, whatever we are talking about, everything will be shared with you. As and when the recordings are shared, they will share everything with you. Okay. So the second type of storage which we are talking about is my file storage, shared access. Okay. File storage. The third one which I'm talking about is known as EBS, or also known as Elastic Block Storage. Now, why it is called as block storage? Again, it is costly. Why do we use it? If you have a dynamic website or a database, so you can store it here. What it will give you? It will give you high speed and good performance. So you will get these things when you start using block storage. Why will it give it to you? So one thing which you should know here is that whenever I talk about a data, now let me say this is my data. This is 5 GB. Now, if I have to move this data from one storage to another, from A to B, I have to move this data. I have to transfer this data. Do you think all the data will go in one single shot? No. What will happen is this entire data will first be divided into small chunks. Let me say 16 kilobytes. One small chunk is, so this is 16 kilobytes. Then this file will go here. Then the next file will go here. Like this, everything will go. At the destination, what is happening is all these data is stored adjacent to each other in adjacent memory blocks. And that's why it is known as EBS or block storage. Whereas here, one will be stored here, one will be stored here, one will be stored here. So obviously when you retrieve your data, you have to collect the data, gather it, and then transfer. Here it is already arranged and kept in adjacent memory blocks. Hence, the retrieval of the data is faster. And hence, block storage is used for database and dynamic websites. Whereas object-based storage is not used for dynamic websites or any fast retrieval of data because it will not be able to give you that kind of a performance. So again, the questions will be based on the scenario. You will be given a scenario. It will say the customer wants speed and performance. What kind of storage are you going to give? So you will say that I'm going to give him block storage. The customer will say, I want shared access. I want to share this storage with 10 other developers. Give him file access or EFS. The customer will say, I want to archive the data, keep logs, bulk storage. What you should give? You should give him object-based storage, which is S3. Glacier storage and all will come. Hold on. Glacier is a type of object storage which will come later. 2 days from now, it will come, Glacier and all. So we will be concentrating on the object-based storage right now. So let's go here and talk about this object-based storage. Now, on your Windows machine, when you create the first stuff, you say it is drive, C drive, D drive, E drive, like that you partition your memory. When you go on Linux machine, you say these are directories or folders. Similarly, here when we start our work, we say it's a bucket. Okay, so you can think bucket as a folder. That's it. Let's open this. You give a name here, dummy bucket, and you try to create it. One more thing, it is global in nature. So you can see here, it is global in nature. One second. One second, let me show you. So you can see it is global in nature, okay? Now, if you want to be kept at a precise location, you can also choose a region. So let me say I want to put it in AP South 1. I want to keep it in Mumbai. So I can choose a region. Now this name should be unique. If this name is not unique, I will get an error. So it says the bucket name must be unique. So dummy bucket. Is it a unique name? I go all the down and say create. It gives me an error and says, no, this name is not unique. You should create a unique name. This name has already been taken by someone else. So you come here and give this a unique name, 3005. Okay. Now, by default, so I'll come to this ownership, but by default, the bucket is private in nature. So when I say private, it means it will not be accessible from outside AWS. Okay. So if you want to access it from outside AWS, you should make it public. How to make it public? So when you start, all the public access is blocked. Unblock this. Okay. The moment you unblock the public access, it gives you a warning. I say, I acknowledge, don't worry. Go ahead and say create. But before creating, I will also do one more thing. I will enable this ACL, access control list. Now, what is this ACL? So think of a scenario. I have a 3 BHK apartment. This is the main door. And then this is first room, second one, third one. So there is a door for this, and door for this. Okay. Now let me say 1, 2, 3. So I would like to enter into the third room. So this door should be open. But before opening that door, the main door should be open, right? Only if the main door is open, then this makes sense. Else it is of no use. Same thing happens here also. The first thing which I'm trying to do is, wait a second. So the first thing what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make my bucket public. By default, all the public access is blocked. So first I will unblock it, means I will open the main door, and then I will open the secondary door. Now, what's the benefit of that? The benefit is that you will be able to keep some of the item private and some of the item public. I'll show you. Just come down and say create a bucket. So now it gives me an error, unexpected error. Why? Let me refresh this page. There's some problem. Give the name, ACL enabled, then unblock this, acknowledge this, create a bucket. After creating the bucket, you can upload unexpected API error. What is the error? A conflict condition of the present progress against your resources. Please try again. Okay, let me come here. All services, S3. I'll create a bucket. I'll give a different name. I'll create it in North Virginia. Okay. ACL enabled. Block. And this time it is getting created. And you can see a bucket got created here. Now it is very easy to upload anything here. So if you want to upload, you can simply click on this upload button or this upload button, and you can go to your local machine. And from there, you can say, I want to add a file. And you can add anything. So let me say AWS icon. This is what I want to add. And you can upload this. Automatically, it will say it's a PNG file. 1 KB is the size, and you can say upload. And you can close this. Now, once you come here, you will see this AWS icon has been uploaded. If you go inside this, you get a URL. Take this and let's try to access whatever we have here. And here you see you get access denied. Means the content which you have in your S3 bucket is not accessible from outside world. What can I do? I can go here, back to this place, back to this item. And here I can go and say, make it public. Make public using ACL. So I told ACL is there. Make it public. Make public. Now it is saying successfully made this as public. Come back to this URL and say refresh. And here you go. You got this image. Now you will say this is coming from your local. Right click, copy image address, bring here, paste it. See here, it is coming from your bucket. The name of the bucket .s3.amazonaws.com and then the name of the image. So it is coming from this thing. Here ACL we did not enable. We have enabled the ACL now, so that's okay. Okay. Now I'll unmute you all. If you have any questions, you can go ahead. There are many other things in this thing. What you say in your S3. So we will cover them one by one. So as of now, I've just shown you how to create a bucket and how to upload an item to that. And then after uploading, you can make it public or private by using that make public access and accordingly access. Anything apart from that, please let me know. Fine. So if you don't have questions, I'll stop now. Meet tomorrow again at the same time and we continue from here. See you then, guys. Bye-bye.